Hey there, it's Adam from Splendid Sports. If you were to ask most people in the sports card hobby, just a random question, what's Mickey Mantle's rarest tops card of his playing days cards? I think a lot of those people, maybe the large majority, would answer right away with 1952 tops. And while that's his most famous card, it's not his rarest card, not even close. And I'm a Mickey Mantle collector. I'm by no means the most knowledgeable or experienced Mickey Mantle collector. And here's a good example. This card that I'm going to talk about today is a card I did not even know existed until a few months back. And it's kind of crazy. I know a lot of you advanced Mickey Mantle collectors, a lot of you longtime Mantle collectors, you knew this card was around, but I didn't. I've been collecting Mickey Mantle for over a decade, since I really had the money to do it. But I was just so focused on getting a lot of his more common cards of his playing days. And it's an expensive player to collect that I really just overlooked this card. I think one of the reasons is because it barely exists. And let me tell you what I'm talking about. So here's a real quick story. Earlier in the year, earlier in 2022, a few months back, I bought a bunch of these boxes. You've probably seen these. They go for about 20 bucks or so on eBay. And what it is it's the 2021 Topps X set that they came out with, which I really like. And what they did basically is they reprinted Mickey Mantle's playing days cards and a few others. And they put them in here, and there's inserts, parallels, numbered cards. So there's some pretty actually valuable cards in this set here. So I bought a bunch of these boxes, and I thought I knew every Mickey Mantle card, playing days for sure. And I opened one box, and running through it, I got some cool cards, some numbered cards, a 1952 Topps reprint. 51 Bowman reprint. So they're really cool. I like them. But one of these cards that I pulled out, a card I had never seen before, and I'm a little embarrassed to admit it, but I will admit it. And it was this card right here. It's now graded by PSA. I had it slabbed. And like I said, if you're one of those longtime Mantle collectors, you've probably seen this card. This is the reprint. This is the Mickey Mantle 1961 Topps dice game card. Now, this specific one this was a big hit for me out of that box. There's a bunch of different numbered parallels in the set of every card. This one here, though, is, in my opinion, the best parallel. I mean, there's a 101 for each one, which I guess would be more valuable. But from a collector's standpoint, there's a parallel called 7. And each one is numbered to 7. So I pulled this card out of that box, and this is numbered number 6 out of 7 of this dice game card that they reprinted. So this was huge. Now, when I pulled this card, obviously, like whenever I learn something new, I go down a rabbit hole. And I went down a rabbit hole. Now, there's not a ton of information online about this card because it's really almost a mythical card. I'm going to show you here in a minute when I share the screen. For those watching on YouTube, I'm going to share the screen a few times here and show a couple different websites that have info on it. And for those just listening, I'll try to do my best to describe what I'm seeing. I'm not going to take a ton of time. I could talk for hours about this set and this card, but this is a timely video, and I'll explain in a minute. So I went out on eBay because I was so obsessed. I ended up buying a gold version of this too, which is numbered to 50. And I got it graded by SGC. Came at 9.5. And like I just showed, the PSA one I got came back a mint 9. I didn't expect a 10 on this one, even though it's a 2021 card, because if you look, it's not centered right to left. And it's funny because when you look at the original, which I'll show here, the original 2 that exist of this card are both off-centered. So I wonder if they reprinted it on purpose off-centered. Or either that or Topps still can't figure out how to print a centered card in 2021. Either way, it doesn't matter. I didn't really care about the grade. I knew it was going to probably get a 9, right around there, 8 or a 9. But either way, I didn't really care about the grade as much as just getting it slabbed up, and cool part of my collection. But the bigger point. Okay, so what I'm sharing here now, this is the PSA Pop Report on this set, the 1961 dice game. So PSA has graded at the time of this recording, only 19 cards out of this set. And the Mickey Mantle card has a pop of 2. There's been 2 1s that are out there. A great set. Again, I'll go more in depth into this set in a different video. But there's Stan Musial, Willie Mays, Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson. There's great players, Al Kaline. The reason this set is so rare is because it was never actually released. It's a set that it was a test set. In the 60s, Topps did a lot of experimenting with game sets. And this was one they were testing. If you read online what's out there about it, it's rumored that at most there's maybe 4 copies of each card that are actually out there in existence. And there's 18 cards in the set, so you could do the math. But Mickey Mantle specifically, there are 2 that are out there in the wild. Okay, so what I have here is an article from the PSA website that I will put the link in the YouTube video and the podcast where you could click over to this. It's a great article that goes into this 1961 Topps dice game set. But what I wanted to read here was a great quote. And I really believe it too. With these cards, it goes back to my definition of what makes something rare, which is, could you buy one if you had the money today? And with the dice game cards, you can, said Bob Fisk, who owns 3 of the set's 18 cards in PSA graded form. So in 2018, this was when this article came out. The reason I put that up is because I'm going to share here now. While that is mostly true in most times, where even if you had the money, you couldn't buy one, that's not true right now. All right, so what I have pulled up here, this is Heritage Auctions website. They have an auction going on right now. It's called the Summer Sports Collectibles Auction. It closes July 21st to the 23rd. So from the recording of this, in about 10 days. What you see here is that quote, although, like I said, it's mostly true. It's not true right now. I don't have any affiliation with this card. I don't have any affiliation with Heritage Auctions. I'm just a Mantle collector who is really interested in this and just watching this. And I had not heard much about it at all. I heard nothing about it, really. But what I did get was in the mail a couple days ago. I got their little brochure. And I mean, so the auction, look at these cards. Talk about rare. Not as rare as the dice game, but the Clemente top 1968 Topps 3D. It's a Gem Mint 10 pop of 6. That's up for auction. There's a PSA 8 Mantle rookie. But as I go through it, as I go to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th page, I'm on the 4th page. Some great cards in here. But pull this out here. Look at that. The 1961 dice game, PSA 1 estimate 300,000 plus. It's in the auction. If it was me, I would have put it right on the front page. But I get it. It's not a well-known card, but it should be. It's so rare though that I get it. You'll get more eyeballs when you put a Mantle rookie PSA 8 on there. Okay, so let's go back to this Heritage Auctions website. So right now, the current bid is $97,500 with, let's scroll down. There's 9 days left and it closes on July 21st. Only 345 views so far. So what's interesting, this card, there's 2 of them that have been graded by PSA. There's been, up until this auction right here, there's been 2 that have ever sold. Robert Edward Auctions. This is the first time this card that I could tell ever sold. in the spring of 2018, it sold for $144,000. Not now, this is the other one, right? So if you look at the registration, this one begins with the 1, and it's a, you know, what's really interesting too about this as I pull it up. If you were just look at that, that looks like a very high grade. You just look at, but there's a pinhole or a staple hole right there, and it's in both of them. So what that, as you read about it online, what that leads people to believe is that it was stapled to some sort of a envelope or whatever, and it somehow escaped out into the wild. So Topps never, there's no even Topps logo on this card. It wasn't even meant to get out. That is unbelievable rarity and a great story. And the fact that you hear, how many times have you heard the 52 Topps Mantle story, how a bunch of them were dumped into the river off a boat? I mean, that's a legendary story, right? But what about this story? This card was never even meant to be out, and it got out. But the other one actually sold in 2021. The one that is up for auction now sold in February of 2021. And let me pull that up. It sold with Heritage Auctions. So it's the same card. Heritage sold it in February 2021. And now whoever bought it is putting it up for auction again with Heritage. All right, so what I have pulled up here, this is the auction that happened February 27th of 2021. What's interesting about this date, the February of 2021, it's the absolute peak of the sports card hobby. If you look at most cards, when they sold in February of 2021, right around there, they sold for all-time highs, pretty much across the board. Now, this card, what's interesting, this one here sold for $372,000 in February of 2021, and now whoever bought it has put it up again for sale. So just to give you an idea on how rare this set and this card is, like I mentioned earlier, the 1952 Topps, to a lot of people, is considered an extremely rare card. It's obviously extremely valuable. But check this out. Not only has been, just PSA alone has graded 1,483 of the 52 Topps Mantle. It's a double printed card. Now, you want to talk about grades. Even, let's go PSA 10. There's 3 of those in existence. Now, none are for sale, so it's a very scarce PSA 10, right? Who knows if they'll become for sale again or anytime soon. But there's actually 3 out there, whereas there's only 2, albeit, they're 1s, but who cares? There's 3, there's 6 9s, 35 8s. That's just the 52 Topps. Let's look at his 1951 Bowman. There's 110, but there's 9 9s. Now, and this is interesting, right? So in this exact same Heritage auction, there's that PSA 8 of this card, the 1951 rookie. There's a PSA 8. Now, there's 53 8s in existence. And Heritage predicts that the estimate that this card will sell for at least 500,000 plus. Whereas the Topps game card, there's 2 in existence. And they estimate that will sell for 300,000 plus. So think about that. And then lastly, I won't share the screen here, but what I have pulled up is the Honus Wagner, one of, maybe along with the 52 Topps Mantle, the other most famous card in history. And there's 32 of those graded by PSA alone. And that has a crazy story to it as well. But just think about how rare this card is that's up for auction compared to even what most people considered the most sought after and rarest cards in history. And so I will have my eye on this auction. Unfortunately, I don't have the money to bid on this card. In fact, I was thinking about it. This is a card where I almost wish that somehow it could find its way to a museum, where if Topps could buy this card back and put it in a museum, a Topps museum or anything, because this is a card that, I mean, it's a little weird that it has now sold in 2018, 2021, and is now going to sell in 2022. And there's only 2 known copies. And this copy that's up for sale will have sold now 2 years in a row, 2021 and 2022. It's a little strange, but, theoretically, this could be the last time this card ever goes up for sale. Maybe the people who bought the last one, or the person who bought the last one, maybe they're just a big Mantle collector that's just going in their collection forever in their family. And then it could be the same with this one. Whoever buys this card, they could have the intent to put it away, and it's in their family collection forever. So that maybe there's two more of these out there. Maybe there's none. Who knows? That's what kind of makes it so interesting too, is there's a lot of mystery around this set and this card. This could be the last time we ever see it sell, or who knows? Maybe it will sell again next year. But this is a type of card where I would love to see it in some sort of a museum, or at least a place where people can look at it, because it's so rare, this set. Now, even if you're not a Mickey Mantle collector, remember there's Stan Musial, Willie Mays, a lot of great all-time great players in this set. So if you can get your hands on the Mantle's going to obviously be a premium price, like Mantle does with every set. But if you could get your hands on somehow even some of these other ones, those are, in my opinion, some of the greatest cards in history, regardless of the player. It's just because of the set and the story behind it. I'm going to go more into that story in future videos, and maybe even see if I can get somebody from Heritage or Robert Edwards or whoever that knows a little bit more about this card. It's very mysterious. I don't know who sold it, who bought it, who's selling this one. And honestly, it was a little strange, right? I understand. Look, some of these cards, they're recognizable. You see them on Instagram and other social media. It's gonna get people interested in the auction to put the rookie card on there. But to have really what might be the most valuable card in this auction on the last page, real small, seems a little strange. Now, maybe Heritage. Look, I don't claim to know how these auction houses work, but maybe they already know who the 5 bidders are going to be, so they don't even need to promote this card. But up until now, again, there's 9 days left. I haven't seen anything on social media from Heritage. Nothing. No other card content. People out there that have huge audiences have mentioned this card. How much did you see about the LeBron triple logo man? I mean, you had Ken Golden taking videos in Times Square. He bought a billboard or whatever it was in Times Square. It was on every single sports card channel and podcast. And look, I know that's a modern card, right? So, okay, there's more potential buyers. This is, I don't know how many people out there right now would actually be in the market for this card. I'd be in the market, but I don't have the money. And I know there's a lot of people like that, but I'm saying people who have the money and are actually going to bid on this card, I don't know, maybe you could count them on 1 or 2 hands. I don't think there's that many, because I believe this card should be $1 million card plus. If you look at everything, it's Mickey Mantle. It's from 1961. There's 2 that exist. The story behind it, I mean, it checks all the boxes to be one of those cards, but it really as of yet has not been. This is my ultimate grail card right here. I'll never have it, but maybe someday at least I can hope to, if it's in a museum somewhere, to at least look at it in person. If not, I'm okay with this as a consolation prize. Thanks for watching and listening, and I'll be back with another one soon.